Joe Frazier. Now, 19 minutes to 6. I am aware, by the way, I've had the Jules Holland Brigade onto me now, variously on email on the phone. I am aware that he commands a much louder audience than me, with him being on the telly and all. That's kind of obvious. All I was doing was expressing my surprise that Jules Holland would be counted among a national treasure, but some of you have taken umbrage at that. Well, fair enough. You're entitled to that view. 0151 709 9333. Now, I don't know whether you were a big fan of the old Saturday afternoon wrestling in the 70s and 80s, like me, yeah, the old Giant Haystacks and Big Daddy, but it has changed a bit since then, hasn't it? WWE SmackDown will bring the American glitz and glamour to the Liverpool Echo Arena tonight, and so too a former Liverpool University student who's back home having become one of the sport's main stars. Wade Barrett, real name Stuart Sanders, studied marine biology on Mercyside while training to be a wrestler. Quite a lot's changed for him since then, as Peter McDowell's been finding out. He's also delighted to be back on home soil.
I'm very excited to be here. Obviously, I'm an Englishman and I spend almost all my days living in the States, so it's amazing to be home, especially coming back to Liverpool. I actually went to university in the Liverpool University here, so I spent some very happy times as a young man living in this city, so it was great to be back. I wish we were spending more time here. I'm only going to be here about 24 hours, but yeah, it's great. It's our first TV that we've done here in Liverpool, so very excited to be here.
So how does a Preston North End Liverpool graduate end up in a world like this, which is quite surreal?
Yeah, it's pretty unusual. It's something that I discovered WWE when I was a young kid, when I was like 9 or 10 years old, and I was mesmerised by it and became a huge fan. And as I got older, I got to like 19 or 20 and decided that I was, a pretty athletic guy. I played sports all my life. I was big. If I knew if I worked out a bit, I'd have a decent stab of making it in the WWE. So I just gave it a shot, worked hard, wrestled on some very small-time shows in the UK for a few years, and luckily enough got picked up by WWE, where the hard work had to continue, and thankfully I made it all the way to the top now.
Now, doing a little bit of research, or people that will put your name into something like Wikipedia, there's all kinds of things come out. Forgive me if none of these are true. It said that you were a bare-knuckle fighter in Liverpool. Is that right?
Yeah, once upon a time when I was a little younger, I used to fight for money in Liverpool and various places across Europe. But something in my past now, and I moved away from that. And thankfully, I'm in a lot safer environment now, shall we say, with WWE.
And how does that change? Because traditionally this was known as wrestling. Now you're all known as superstars. It's still that kind of family sport, though, that you see grannies enjoying alongside 5-6-year-old kids.
A lot of people in the UK remember the old world of sport wrestling with Big Daddy and Giant Haystacks and stuff like that. We've really moved along from that. I mean, it's similar in principle, but the reason that we call ourselves superstars and not just wrestlers is because it's not so much focused purely on the in-ring product nowadays. You've got a lot of stuff like, the interview stuff, and we do film work and a lot of media appearances and stuff like that. We're in various TV shows and stuff like that. So it really is an all-encompassing form of entertainment rather than just purely focusing on wrestling now.
And what is your character for people that don't know you? Are you a good guy? Are you a bad guy? Do you fit whatever a kind of premise that's put in front of you?
Well, I think I'm a really good guy, but everyone else seems to have the opposite opinion. I'm generally booed wherever I go. Even in England, they don't tend to like me too much. So I'm certainly never going to be anybody's hero, but I'm not the most popular guy on the roster.
And what is it about this whole field? Because they've got storylines, haven't they? The bouts that you're involved with, they're followed by all kinds of different people. It's pay-per-view TV. Why is it exploded in quite the way it has?
I think it's something that I can only speak from my own experience here, but as a kid, when I first discovered it, it was like nothing I'd ever seen before in my life. There was these larger-than-life personalities, this amazing athleticism, these crazy storylines and crazy characters and stuff like that. And it really is something that's very unique and something you can't really find anywhere else. I mean, we work to storylines, we work to scripts and things like that, but in terms of a lot of the action, we try and respond to how the crowd is responding to us and things like that. So it's, no match is ever sorted out before we get in the ring or anything like that. What happens in the ring is really a product of how the crowd is responding to us and how the wrestlers are feeling and things like that at the time. So yeah, every match is going to turn out completely different to how people are expecting it before we get in the ring, and that's part of the adventure for us. We never know quite how things are going to turn out in there.
What are your signature moves then?
My signature moves, well, I do a couple of signature ones. I do one called a Bossman Slam, which is one that I took from a guy who I was a fan of when I was a kid. It's the Big Boss Man. So I do that move. I do a pump handle slam. I do an elbow off the ropes. I do a big boot, but my main move is one that's called the waist slam, where I pick somebody up in a fireman's carry and slam them down to the mat, which when I'm 6'6", it's a pretty high drop for people.
I'm glad you're in a good mood.
Move. Yeah, I'm in a good mood so far. I hope you don't wind me up the wrong way.
Your station, your voice.
BBC Radio Merseyside.
Quick look at the headlines. The Home Secretary Theresa May is insisting she won't resign over the